All right. Let's see. That pulley right there is what we're looking at. That one right there. That's the belt tensioning idler pulley, and the way that you use it, you loosen the bolt on the idler pulley right there, and then you tighten this up, and it goes in and out, and it pushes on this belt and tightens it. It's good and tight now, but the thing's making some noise, and I got another one. All right, normally I go to AutoZone, as you know from my parts, but this particular one I got from O'Reilly. It's a Gates, made in Canada, and of course we all know that Canadians make good parts. So I had a choice between this one for about $25, and I had a choice for the China-sourced one from AutoZone for about 12 or 13. So I figured I'd rather pay double and get a better unit, because this device will keep you on the side of the road if it breaks. And I think that one's making noise, and if not, with almost 200,000 miles, it's probably a good idea to change it. And you know, those of you that want to press in a bearing, you can probably just press a bearing out and maybe go to Fastenal or something and get another bearing. But this is the, as you see, made in Canada. Oh, that's upside down. Made in Canada. It is a Gates unit, and it is Gates is an OEM manufacturer for a bunch of cars, so it is not just a Chinese knockoff. So should not be too hard to change. Okay, once you get that loose, you can go ahead and loosen this. That's also a 15 millimeter. I find it's easier to take this off, so you can kind of get there with a wrench. This will loosen the belt. You know what, second thought, do yourself a favor and go ahead and take this fan out. It's easy. It's 2 8mm bolts here and here, and it just lifts right up. I would take your radiator drain overflow tube off like that. Set that over there. And let's see if this thing will lift right up. Now we've got easy access. All right, this is the spacer configuration. Looks like on the back you've got this piece right here, okay? And then on the front you've got the bolt and this spacer here, okay? And then here is the unit. Let's see. Oh, it's very crunchy. You can't hear it, but you'd have to feel it. Very crunchy. So I would recommend, this is just a $25 thing that can keep you from getting stuck on the side of the road. Boy, that's awful feeling. And the new one, I'm not sure it's going to be correct. Let's take a look. Let's get the measuring device out. Okay. So these pieces, this came with the new one. It goes down in here like this. This is the old one. It goes down in here like this. So we'll see what the measurement of this is. This is 16.94. Okay. And this one $16.92, so I guess it's close enough. And they look to seem to be the exact same Yep. They're exactly the same. Now the center offset, I hope is correct with this spacer. This spacer is going to have to go on the old one. So let's see how I can measure that. On this back spacer, I'm going to clean this up so it'll get all that rust off of it for an accurate measurement. Okay, as you saw, the original one went like this. Okay, that goes into the front, bolt goes in, spacer on the back. Well, the new configuration, this won't seat all the way down in the front, you see, because of the way it's made. So you've got to use this one. That's why it came with this one. So the new way, that goes into there, and the spacer would go onto the back like that. Like this. Okay, so that seems to be how the new one's going to go. This thing was kind of hard to get out. I might put some anti-seize on that. Okay, so you can see that's the little part that goes up and down where the pulley rides in, and you can actually take this out. So now's a good time to take it out to be cleaned and earled up. So I'm going to unscrew that and take it out. All right, this is the adjusting screw. Now this is interesting. This thing is warped big time. I don't know if I can get another one of these, or I might straighten it out, or what. I don't know. Looks like somebody tried to over tighten it. It's crazy. All right, I've straightened that bolt up as much as I could. I'm tracing these threads, and this thing, it'll be almost as new, but not quite. All right, I got this adjusting block all cleaned up. The threads have all been cleaned out. The bolts about as straight as I can get it. Let's put it back together. All right, I've got the little adjusting thing down there. Well, I'll screw this in with anti-seize on it. Okay, I'm actually going to put some grease. Let's see if I can see it. Okay. Anyway, it's on the back side of that right there. I'm going to put some, because the thing slides up and down, so I'm going to clean that off and put some grease on it. Okay, I'll put some of that grease down there in that slide. You don't want to hit it to belt, obviously, and up in there behind it. So the adjustment thing can easily slide up and down, but none on the belt, remember. And see, I can screw it with my fingers now. See how it adjusts? It goes down, back up, and that's what you want. Very easy. Okay, remember your spacer on the back and the new one on the front. And then it just goes right down there and screws right in the hole. And when it's all the way down, you want to make sure it does not rub on this back and that it doesn't wobble. This was not all the way tight. Alright, get your belt back on, tighten it up. This. Ooh, that's not good. Just had to do a little adjustment, that's all. Oh, no, 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 no. Well, little did I know that Dorman actually makes a kit to replace the bolt, both bolts and the little adjusting nut. All right, sorry for the rain noise, but here's a comparison. They look identical. The Dorman seems to be galvanized, and but otherwise they look identical. The only difference in the beef I got with Dorman is this part here. The nut is, or the cap here is larger. It's a 17 millimeter. So when you're doing a pulley adjustment on the old way, you had 15 millimeter and 15 millimeter. Now you're going to have 15 millimeter and 17 millimeter. But at least it's straight. This one's not straight, and you know, this one had a little damage right here, but I'm not so sure. I'm going to weigh these maybe and see which one, if they weigh any different. Okay, just for giggles, we'll weigh the old pulley. The old pulley, 13.5. The new pulley, wow, big difference. You know, you can tell, look at the thickness. If it wasn't for that bearing, this seems like a much better deal. Huh. But that is a smooth bearing, and this bearing is very rough. It's hard to tell but on the camera, but man, it's loose. Be nice to press that one out, maybe. So in case you do want to just replace a bearing, and I might be leaning toward that. We'll see. CG-425. I'm going to try to press this bearing out. All right, that was easy to get out. So if you want to replace this bearing, it looks like the outside diameter is right at 40 millimeters. And the inside is 16.93, almost 17. So I think I'm going to just replace the bearing, to be honest with you, because, man, that thing is twice as thin as this. All right, I decided to change my strategy. Napa had the bearing for $5, $4.99. So I'm going to return this Gates, put the Napa bearing in the old one, and be done. Okay, well, the reason I do this is to help y'all out, and there must be a reason why they don't just sell this bearing, because this is the original bearing that I pressed out. I went to put the new bearing in, okay, and look what happens. It just goes right in and out. So then I said, well, let me check the old bearing. Same thing. So I think when I press this bearing out, this device is only made, it didn't really scar it up hardly any. So I guess when you press that bearing out, it messed it up. I pressed it out this way. Maybe if I'd have pressed it out this way, I don't know. Well, that's not going to work. dookie. I'm going to have to go back with that one. Now we know. Just cost me an extra $5. I mean, I guess I could return it, but I think on the other XJ I might try to press it out this way and see what happens. We'll live and you learn. All right, it's all buttoned back up. All right, items featured in this video: the Dorman bolt kit for adjusting the idler pulley 917-951, the idler pulley from Gates 38042, and the Napa bearing P62032 RSJ. Not necessarily in that order. Again, I'm a glutton for punishment. Well, what did we learn? We learned that the original one is a lot thicker and better, but I pressed the bearing out and it's not reusable. It seemed to have expanded the little internals there. So the new Napa $5 bearing didn't work. So I used the Gates. It seems to be working okay, but you know, I will use the Dorman kit. This actually, I'm glad I did this because it was a lot easier to tighten and it didn't bind because of that bent bolt. So I'm glad I did this. I don't consider it a waste of time. You live and you learn, you know, so maybe it'll help some of y'all out there. So the cheap Jeep continues.